and that same long dark purple tongue used for pulling leaves off of branches. The tongue is dark purple in coloration to prevent it from getting sunburned. Sort of acts like a natural sunscreen for the tongue, since it's out of the mouth for so many hours of the day, being utilized as a tool. Now we'll see if we can find anyone else as we continue on our way down towards this watering hole. Sometimes we have some luck finding animals there because it is a great way to cool off on a hot day. Take a nice drink of water, even a bath. Ooh, and I do see someone coming up on our left side, far left end of this clearing. There is a big old black rhino resting in the shade. It is really awesome to see black rhinos on protected wildlife reserves like this one. There's only about 5,500 black rhinos left alive in the wild. And sadly, they're often poached for the horns on their face, which are sold on the black market for supposed medicinal properties. But there's no medicine in the rhino's horn. It's made out of keratin, same stuff our fingernails are made out of. And these are greater kudu off on our right side here, those tan antelopes. I can tell that all these greater kudu we're seeing are females, because for this species of antelope, it's only the boys that have horns on their heads. None of them have horns. Now that's different for the bongos coming up on our left side. For the bongos, both the males and the females have horns, so they're a little harder to tell the difference between. Lucky we were able to see her out in the open there. They are nicknamed the ghosts of the forest. These bongos are generally very shy and excellent at camouflage. Now we are headed towards the Safi River area, home to some more shy animals. But in this case, instead of hiding behind trees or bushes, the animals here tend to like to hide beneath the surface of the water. The river's going to start out on our right side, but it will stretch around to the left. So we should have some good views on both sides of the truck. But it looks like first off, those of you towards the right might see a Nile hippopotamus or two moving around out there, as well as plenty of pink-backed pelicans, getting their name for the pink coloration that appears on their backs, go figure, during the mating season. Lots of black vultures, but those are Florida natives. Don't know what they're doing here in Africa. Must have been a really long flight. But now, as that river stretches around to our left, keep your eyes peeled for any more Nile hippopotamuses spending their time out in this water. I will say, oftentimes we are just looking for some really big pinkish brownish blobs way down below the surface, because hippos are so dense, they'll sink all the way down to the bottom of the river and walk or run along the bottom rather than swimming. Sometimes they'll even sleep down there and unconsciously come up for a breath of air every 5 to 8 minutes or so whenever they need that oxygen. Looks like no one was feeling super photogenic. They were like kind of right beneath the cliffside there. But a little further along, you might start to glimpse some Nile crocodiles out in the distance. A group of them like that is called a bask of crocodiles, like they're basking in the sun. They can grow up to about 16 feet in total length, though some have been known to stretch upwards of 20 feet. Nile crocodiles are huge. You do not want to mess with one of them. Wow. While they might look pretty scary though, Nile crocodiles are actually very good parents. If they have an egg that's just about ready to hatch, they can put the egg in their mouth and roll it around to help it out in the hatching process. Also, if any of their babies are ever potentially in danger, Mama Croc has a pouch in her throat that she can scoop her babies up into to hide them away until she's decided that that danger has passed and it's safe to let her little baby crocodiles back out again. Jumbo Ray. Everyone wave hi to Ray.
Hi, Ray.
He hates me now. Okay, we're gonna make our way out towards the savannah, that big, wide, flat, open grassland, home to a lot of interesting species. We generally see roaming all around the space. In fact, you might start to glimpse some animals way out there in the distance. So we are gonna talk about each species in detail as we come up towards them. So, looks like first off, we do have those little tan antelopes off on our right side. Those are springbuck. Really small, but they can jump 6 feet straight up into the air from standing. When they're running, they can jump 13 feet forward. It's like they got little springs in their feet. Springbuck is a very fitting name for the animal, in my opinion. In fact, sometimes they'll exhibit a behavior known as prunking. That's P-R-O-N-K. Bronking is what happens when they jump straight up with their legs outstretched beneath them. And it's thought that that's meant to confuse predators on the direction they're about to be headed next. It also acts as a way of showing off to the predator, like, hey, check it out, I'm super fit, I've got all this energy. You don't even want to bother wasting your time chasing me, I am just gonna outrun you. Speaking of predators, follow that back rock wall all the way to the left. Out there on our left side, you might glimpse some African wild dogs out there. Super well hidden. Just a reminder to stay seated, friends. I need everyone fully seated. It doesn't look like those African wild dogs are feeling super photogenic at the moment, all resting in the shade in that little cuddle puddle there. But you might catch a glimpse of them as we move on past. That pack is composed entirely of brothers, by the way. They're all litter mates. Yeah. Out on our left side, we do have some wildebeest resting on the ground there, as well as a couple of sable antelopes wandering by with those long, curved horns used for defense. Now, sable antelopes are really territorial animals. They'll generally spend a lot of their day kind of in the corner, just kind of guarding their territory. I'm surprised they're out here near the wildebeest, to be honest. In fact, when faced with a foe, the sable antelope will get down on its front knees and present its horns to its enemy, sort of as a way of saying, hey, look how cool and tough I am. You do not want to mess with me. Yeah, we're headed towards all those Maasai giraffes up ahead of us. Might catch a glimpse of that dark purple tongue there. About 18 inches in length. Totally prehensile, so it can wrap around those leaves and branches, pull them right on into her mouth. There's also a couple of Hartman's mountain zebras out there on our left side. The one currently resting on the ground is actually a baby zebra, with mom kind of walking away a little bit, but she's going to keep an eye on her little girl in a second. We'll see if we can make our way over towards them. Here's a great view of this little girl taking a nap out on the ground here, and then mom kind of watching nearby. She's got almost 360 vision because her eyes are on the side of her head, so believe it or not, she can still watch her baby pretty well even when she's facing away like that. They're Hartman's mountain zebras, to be exact, the specific species that we're seeing there. Shorter, stockier build than some other zebra species, also a larger heart to be able to handle those higher altitudes that they generally spend most of their time in. We are going to head towards some more Maasai giraffes in just a moment here. A fully grown Maasai giraffe is about 14 to 20 feet tall. When they're first born, though, they're about 6 feet tall, so they do have a lot of growing to do to hit that full height range. Also, fully grown Maasai giraffe's legs, just the legs themselves, are about 6 feet long. And they give birth standing up, which means that when a baby giraffe is first born, it has a 6-foot drop into the world. While that might sound pretty shocking, it's actually good for the calf because it helps it to get up and moving in less than an hour after first being born. Something that is very important when you live on a big, wide open savanna like this one, very much in view of any predators. And we do call a group of giraffes, like we just saw there, a tower of giraffes, by the way. And if the whole group of giraffes is scared, that's a tower of terror. Ba-doom-tsh. Out on your left side, up on this grass, I kind of see a little bit of a fuzzy dark shape. There is a couple of mandrills up on this hill. Same species as Rafiki from the Lion King, super well hidden, kind of at the base of one of those palm trees. I can see him. I don't know, he's difficult to see. Picture Rafiki. Wow, mandrill. But take a look out on your right side. Got an animal that's a little easier to see, way out there in the distance. Big old African elephant. Not the most flattering angle for him, but we'll see if we can get another vantage point on that African elephant. Still not super flattering, but slightly closer. Sit down. Now it looks to me like he's all by himself out there. Elephant herds, the groups of them, are matriarchal, which means they're composed entirely of females, except for the baby boys. And once the males become about the age of a teenager, they'll usually go off on their own, separated from the rest of the herd, and only return to the herd during the mating season. So, because he is alone out there, it's safe to assume that's probably a boy we just saw. We could also call him a bull elephant, because all the males are known as bulls, while the females are known as cows. It's cows and bulls, just like dairy cattle. But we are going to make our way deeper into elephant country here, and you know what? As we make our way between these red clay pits, go ahead and take a look on either side of yourself. See if you can find any evidence of more elephants passing through the area. There's some tusk marks over to the right. As well as some footprints down in the ground. Now, elephants will carve out that red clay using their tusks, just like you saw evidence of there. And then they'll consume that clay as a part of their diet. That red clay gives them all the vitamins and minerals they need to supplement their day. Sort of similar to how you or I might take a gummy vitamin in the morning. Now, we'll see if we can see some more African elephants as we continue moving along here. I kind of glimpsed some that were like way, way, way out in the distance. Not certain whether we're going to get a view on them or not. We'll find out together as we continue moving along at 8 whole miles per hour. Ka-chow! Might glimpse some wildebeest through that gap. Not really. Okay. Sometimes they're spending time up there. They're kind of just past that tall grass. We saw wildebeest earlier, though. Oh, it looks to me like we're headed towards a flock of greater flamingos, also known as a flamboyance of flamingos. There's quite a few of them out here. You might see some of them having some lunch, dipping their heads below the surface of the water, filter feeding, eating brine shrimp. Now that brine shrimp contains beta-carotene, and that's what gives them that iconic pink coloration. So it is the food they eat that turns them pink. Although I will say the greater flamingos are the lightest pink of all the flamingo species. As you can probably tell, most of their bright pink color is just, you know, their beak and their legs and maybe like the tips of their feathers. That's about it. Besides that, just that blush pink. And that's very typical for that species. By the way, we do call this species greater flamingos, not because they're necessarily any better than any other species of flamingo, but simply because they're the tallest species of flamingo. Oh gosh, some African elephants right out there on our left side. I can't come to a full stop, I'm sorry, but I move by slow. Oh. Oh, it's rare to see these guys out and about. These are water buck off on our left side. They usually only come out in the evenings, so that's why I'm like surprised. You might notice how the water buck have that kind of white ring on their backside. It's kind of interesting, but it actually does serve a purpose. When it is really late out on the savannah, it can get really, really dark. It makes it hard to see around. Baby water buck might have a hard time finding mama or papa water bucks. They have that white ring on their backside, so it'll act like a target. So they're going to stand out even in the darkness, so little baby water buck knows exactly which direction to walk to follow mom or pop wherever they might be headed. I think it's kind of cool. They do get the name water buck for the amount of time they spend near water. Go figure. Another great time to see them is when it's raining. Oh, out on our left side, really well hidden, very back of that hill, you might spot a cheetah, kind of above that line of green grass, very back of that hill, kind of towards the middle. She's super well camouflaged, though, and not moving. So don't blame yourself if you can't spot her. Her camouflage is really, really good. Cheetahs do spend a lot of their day at rest, conserving all the energy they can for when they need to put a big burst of speed all at once. In fact, a cheetah can make it from standstill to 60 miles per hour in only about 3 seconds. So for any of my friends here who've ever ridden the Rockin' Roller Coaster at Hollywood Studios, that's the launch speed. You go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Those crazy G-forces you feel are about the same experienced by the cheetah anytime they decide to run. Of course, they can only maintain that speed for about the length of a football field or two, so she better hope she catches her prey before she tires out. Well, as we head around this bend, we do have a crash of white rhinos coming up on our right side. That's what we call a group of rhinos, is a crash of rhinos. And they are white rhinos, getting their name not for the color white, but for a mistranslation of the Afrikaans word weit, meaning wide. They have wide, flat mouths, used for grazing, as opposed to their cousin the black rhino, which has a pointed, prehensile lip used for browsing or pulling leaves off of branches. You might remember seeing the black rhino way at the beginning of our safari together. Ooh, and we got some warthogs coming up on our left side here. They've been sleeping like all day, so that's why I was like, ooh, when they were awake here. But yeah, same species as Pumbaa. 3 of them out here. They're actually all females. And you might see those burrows in the ground. Warthogs will carve out those burrows using their tusks, or they'll even borrow burrows that have already been formed by other animals. When they want to rest, they'll back into them with their tusks pointed outwards so that they're ready to wake up and charge any potential foes that might wander by at any given time. And there's those white rhinos once again out there on our right side. And some lovely bushes that love to get in our way. We'll have another vantage point on those warthogs out there on our left side as we continue moving along here. By the way, Pumbaa is Swahili meaning foolish one. Fun fact. Now we are making our way towards the Magadi Glen. This is home to our game warden's post. So maybe we can stop by for just a quick visit to say Jambo. That's Swahili for hello to Warden Wilson out there. Although, looks to me like the warden's not home right now and the post has been completely overrun by Nigerian dwarf goats. Oh no! I don't think the warden will mind all that much though. These guys are prized for their milk. Now, do you see that weird yellow box hanging right in the center of the camp there? That weird yellow structure is a portion of a beehive fence. And I think beehive fences are really interesting. They are partially developed by Disney and funded by Disney Conservation Fund. And beehive fences are used to keep elephants out of places where we might not want elephants to go. So, say you're a farmer in Africa and you have all this land that's your life's work and the elephants keep trampling on it on their migration routes, knocking over any fences that you might set up. You might not be too happy about this and say, oh my goodness, this is just the worst. I just want to get rid of the elephants. But of course, we don't want to get rid of the elephants. We love the elephants. So instead, what you as the farmer can do is set up some of those beehive fences around the perimeter of your property. The elephants will come by on their usual migration, but then they'll hear the bees buzzing, and they'll see those little bees flying around their beehives, and the elephants will go, oh no, I don't want to be here right now. I don't feel like getting stung today. So they'll back off and tell all their elephant friends to back off as well. They'll go safely around your property. Your crops will remain safe for harvest, and to top it all off, you can sell the honey. That's what I call the win-win-win. And that's called the Elephants and Bees Project, for anyone who may be wondering. I personally think it is a very cool initiative. Now, unfortunately, friends, we are now nearing the end of our safari together, though you all have been absolutely wonderful today. I'll be bringing us up to the unloading dock as soon as I'm able to do so, though I do appreciate your patience in the meantime. If you'd like to continue your safari on foot after this, I would definitely recommend you check out the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. That's going to be on your right side as you're exiting up the hill. But otherwise, if that's not something you're interested in, you can continue moving all the way up and over that hill.